my next little section, and this was probably, I said that things like where people have been introduced to it by their parents and things like that was the most common response, but actually the most common response was basically Rick is one of the things that people just love most about Bottom.
The goat.
He was the goat. Something that just away from people's comments. Whenever I share things like from the second live show where he does the "You're just a door, I'm Rick effing mate."
Yeah.
Those always get really, really loads of interaction. You always know when I'm struggling for inspiration because I'll do a fluff week. And for those of you watching this podcast, it's the 22nd of November. And I'm going to do a fluff week starting tomorrow because I've run out of things to post about. So next week is a fluff week, so you know that I'm going to be just posting the same old shit that I do every 3 or 4 months. People love it though. But anyway, people always go to it, and the first thing they say is they're from all over the world. The C word.
You stopped at a crucial point there. Well done.
Yes, I'll leave that in. They say, "Is that Drop Dead Fred?"
Yeah.
Always. Is that
Drop
Dead Fred?
Yeah.
Or they'll say, what is this show? Or they'll say, was that meant to happen? Like, I've got no idea what it is, but that is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's always no one really does it with Aid, bless him. I feel like Aid often gets thrown into the shade, but I mean I don't suppose he cares.
Sometimes I wonder, had God rest his soul, had it been the other way around, would Aid be as revered as Rick is, or is it just because Rick was just so larger than life? Or a bit of both.
A bit of both.
Yeah.
Possibly, but I think Rick was larger than life, and I think things like where Drop Dead Fred in particular gave him that international status.
Yeah.
Just before Bottom, I think they filmed Bottom. He had just wrapped up Drop Dead Fred.
Yes.
I'm talking to Adam McLean on the last episode of this podcast. He was saying that I think they started filming back 2 or 3 weeks after he got back from filming Drop Dead Fred. So he'd just come back from which might explain kind of just how confident and how kind of Richie's character came across, how kind of confident and smug, because he'd just probably come back with the biggest ego trip of his life.
Oh, sure.
Doing his first proper Hollywood movie. It must have been amazing.
Princess Leia in it. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's that. But people just posts that go viral, if you like. People just pile in the comments about, this is the guy from Drop Dead Fred. This guy is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, who is he? Like, he's so funny.
Yeah.
Just to say, like, his face is so funny. Everything about Rick is people just absolutely love.
Yeah.
Just some of the comments, I'll just go through them. He was an icon. He's a legend. He's a genius. Yeah. Rick is so beautiful. I mean, that is true.
He is. Even when he's a fat, slobbering, sweaty, he's still,
I mean, I can appreciate a handsome bastard when I see one, and Rick really was one handsome bastard.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they did a good job making him anything but.
They did. Also, but his facial expressions.
Yeah.
Talking about his facial expressions, you're very good at Rick facial expressions. You don't have to do it if you don't. If you.
I can't remember what the scene is when he was that sort of like cheeky smirk.
There's a few. Yeah. I know you're thinking of that is the Jazz Mag. Doesn't matter what age it is. So still a Jazz Mag. But yeah, so that he does a really good job of making himself look like ugly bastard when he's not.
Yeah, he's very expressive. I suppose kind of like Rowan Atkinson. I mean, he's, bless him, not an oil painting, but he really uses the face he has to his advantage. And so does Rick, except Rick is very nice looking. But I think that's a mark of a good actor. Even though he's such a physical actor, if you were just watching from his head and above, it would still be amazing. It would just be pure class.
Yeah. And that is, I guess that's people just recognising his face from so many things.
Yeah, a lot of, if I say to people, what, you never heard Rick Mail? And I say Drop Dead Fred, and Drop Dead Fred, yeah. So.
But you think about things like one of the things I get sent loads is the Nintendo adverts.
Oh my god, yeah.
One with Nigel Mansell, the Zelda one. He's like, these are 3 or 4. I just get sent that all the time. If you're listening or following, you can probably stop sending me those adverts.
I saw he narrated some kind of Nintendo or Mega Drive game or something. And it was like Pigs of War. Pigs of War, yes. Yeah. It's really weird, like playing that and then hearing that. Why are we shouting? Something about pigs.
Yes, and the other one which people always recognise they don't know from Bottom is Jack and Ori, George's Marvellous Medicine.
Of course. So again, so expressive, such a good storyteller. I hate that word, but because he's great with adults, but he's great with children as well.
Yeah.
He must have been the best dad to have around, you know? Just that straight looking at the camera, telling the story. I'm not even a child, and I love it.
Yeah, I posted a couple of clips from it because it's not bottom. I don't tend to often post non-bottom stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But I have posted that a couple of times, and I've also posted what was quite recently, the one where he's at some sort of event, function, I don't know what, and he just catches the camera, and he does the kind of like the got a pretty big knob. There we go. More wonderful Rick face. But that, again, people love that.
They do.
People even know it's Rick, or they're like, "Who is this guy?" The comments underneath it, because it has a bit of a wider reach. The more interaction he gets.
Yeah.
But who is this guy? Like, what is he doing? How does he get? Like, why is he doing that?
Sorry.
So yeah, and then just sorely missed. Yes. And also the only celebrity death that made people cry.
Yes.
I think that's fair. I think that's probably stands for me too. I do remember where I was working in London the day he died, and I went out for some beers with one of my mates, and we spent all night just talking about Rick, and then I had a little cry on the train home.
Yeah, I remember I went home like crying to my husband, and I was like, I realised I'm just being so ridiculous, but he's basically my dad, and he's gone, and something because he was so young as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, up until Meatloaf, God rest his soul, that was the only celebrity I had ever cried for. You know.
It's understandable because you are also a big Meatloaf fan, so
yeah.
It's not surprising those two.
Yeah, different kind of realms. I'm sure they cross over at some point, but
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, Rocky Horror-ish.
Yeah.
Well, Rocky Horror 2. Yeah.
That was called Shock Treatment. Yes, I've never seen it.
No, I need to buy it. Well, I've seen one clip from it, but
yeah, that said, I've never seen the Rocky Horror show.
Yeah.
No, I never have.
Oh my god.
I'll say I know of it. I always just think of The Simpsons though, when Dr. Hibbert turns up. Like, I thought they were showing the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Scotland. Yeah.
That's my only kind of link to Rocky Horror.
Amazing.
But what I have seen from the clips, Rick does some excellent dancing in Shock Treatment.
Does he?
Yes, obviously there's a musical scene, lots of musical scenes.
Yeah,
right. But there he does some excellent dancing in it. Again, I'll see if I can dig out a clip of it and merge it with this chat about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's quite impressive. Just a very young Rick too. When you see him, he's quite Kevin Turvey-ish.
Right. Okay.
In his age, I think he's quite Turvey.
Jesus, it's still spotty and everything.
Not spotty, but just that kind of more fresh-faced kind of. It's more of a fresh-faced Rick. I don't know when it was. I haven't got the dates to hand, but yeah, he's more fresh-faced than he is. A bit later when you see him crop up in things like, I don't know, Jonathan Creek or stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh shit! Wow.
Yeah. What was the thing he was?
Man Down. No?
Man Down. Yeah, that was the last thing he did, wasn't it? He was in some really crap ITV sort of like Doc Martin, which I love. By the way, I love Doc Martin.
I was just thinking that.
He was in a nice kind of feel good drama throwaway sort of. I don't think he ever got a second series. The shit. I can't remember what it's called. And he was.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
It was post accident.
Yeah.
And it was all right. It was kind of like it was on a Thursday night before Doc Martin. Actually, that's why I remember it.
I think if Rick's being too well behaved, I don't want to know.
Yeah, that doesn't feel quite right, does it?
Yeah, exactly.
We talked about his facial expressions. We've gone through that in quite a lot of detail, but some of the things I've just got written down here are Rick's facial range, pervy, nervous, angry, confused. And Digger probably has all the expressions in one place. I think Digger is a good example of Rick's face from start to finish.
Digger, not finger.
Digger, not finger. Dating agency.
Digger is the dating agency.
Okay,
that's why. Yeah. Okay, I'll get us too confused. Yes.
So if you think about when she says, "Should we get yours out? Should we have a look at yours, Mr. Richard?" And he does that confused, shocked. There's a whole range of faces.
Yep.
It's thorough. And then also when Eddie's talking about Harry Belafonte, Rick just goes through this brilliant range of kind of confused and annoyed, confused. But then later on, when he's in the bedroom with lovely Helen, he goes through his whole range of pervy faces, doesn't he? And that sort of thing. So that you get the full Rick, facial treatment in Digger.
Yeah, that is true.
I've also put Parade and Smells also have brilliant Richie faces. Richie facials.
You would love that.
As we've discussed, we would all enjoy that.
Yeah.
Actually, moving on to that, one of the next section is chemistry between Rick and Aid.
Oh.
Two mates having a bloody good time, and I think that is exactly like this. I feel like this is probably on a par with Bottom. in terms of the quality.
Yes.
How it's
got the same couch, isn't it?
The same couch. It's marginally more stained actually than
gaudily stained. I think.
Gaudily stained. There is a dog actually down here that's had catastrophic diarrhea for the last 2 weeks. So.
And dog on and skateboard.
On and skateboard.
Yeah.
But I've got here. It really is what makes the show what it was.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think it's clear that they truly love what they created in Bottom, and I think that also came through from Aid. Yeah. And Bottom Exposed, I'm sure you've seen that.
Yeah, definitely. I think in every interview, particularly after Rick's passing, you can see there's so much affection between the two of them. And even when you watch the live shows, when they're obviously fluffing their lines a little bit and smiling at each other, kind of, is it sandbagging? Is that the term? When you kind of break character.
Yeah.
Corpsing. I don't know what sandbagging is. Corpsing.
Sandbagging.
I think that's a wrestling term. I don't know.
Let's not go down that route.
No. But you can tell there really is such a strong bond between them. Yeah.
And I think with Bottom Exposed in particular, and also the way Aid talked about it in his autobiography, so there's been a lot of Aid talking about Rick and Bottom over the last 18 months.
Yeah.
Which is great, and I think I know from the way he's spoken previously, he doesn't tend to talk very much about Rick. He doesn't talk much about Bottom or other things, because I think his career's taken a bit of a different direction now. I think he feels like he's more of a serious actor. He's been in things that are far more serious. He's kind of almost left the comic acting behind.
EastEnders for one.
Of course, I forgot he was in EastEnders. I forgot. But so if you take away EastEnders, he's done a lot more serious acting.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's ever been ashamed of his past, but I don't think he's ever had cause to talk about, because he wants to talk about what he's doing now. I think essentially, and Bottom Exposed in his biography meant that he ended up talking more about Rick and more about that, and you could tell I think there's things like the Desert Island discs.
Yes, yeah.
That he did, where he gets very emotional.
Very upset, yeah.
Bottom Exposed, he gets very emotional about Rick.
Yeah.
And it just seems to be this kind of love for Bottom.
Yeah.
That you haven't heard much of, because you don't hear him talk about it much until the last 18 months.
No, I mean, did you go on, when he was promoting his book, he went on a book tour? Did you go on
I didn't go on the tour, no.
So in that tour, he comes out and he sort of says, and I think he said it on Desert Island Disc, he's like, everyone expects me to talk about the young ones and Bottom, but actually I think he says 14 weeks of my life. I think he says that in the book as well. Yeah. But actually his whole career, what do we remember it for?
Exactly. I mean, what a 14 weeks. The legacy that's left. That's the thing.
Yeah.
By the way, we just did sort of a couple of scene cuttings, and my dog Mabel has just joined. There is Anne dog on Anne's sofa, not looking at the camera. So and as I mentioned before we cut, she's been a bit poorly recently, so she's obviously just desperate for some attention, which she's now getting.
Like impending.
You're wearing the right colour trousers.
Oh, excellent! Excellent.
It did come through on the Bottom Exposed documentaries, how different Rick was after his quad bike accident, and I think it did make him, a bit more difficult to work with. And it was quite heartbreaking to hear that in a way, because it obviously did affect their relationship, and I think it just felt like it was never the same.
Yeah, I think to work with obviously such a larger than life creative genius must be great on screen, but perhaps behind the scenes it might be quite exhausting. And I think he sort of says in interviews, and whenever we went for lunch, he would think we were going to talk about a series 4 or be about, and it's like, no, we're just going for lunch. He was always keen to carry on.
Yeah.
Perhaps maybe a little in denial of the effects of the accident. I mean, obviously they reference the accident in the live shows, don't they?
Yes, the accident happened just after they'd finished filming this third live show.
Yeah.
Not long after, and then so the fourth and fifth were after, and I think that there's a general obvious decline, I think, in quality in the live shows pre and post accident. I don't think that's all related to Rick's accident. I think it's just, by that point, I think the fourth live show was 2001, which is a long time after Bottom first started.
Yeah.
I think everything had changed by that point, so I think it was quite difficult to do Bottom in the 21st century.
I think you say it kind of dates a little bit. I mean, I find it a little uncomfortable when they're talking about, I don't know, Baby Spice or whatever. And you're like, oh no, that's in my lifetime. Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't like that. That's too modern. Whereas in the first ones, it was like Graham Taylor or whatever from the 90s.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's interesting too, because you saw with things like Baby Spice, when they do those kind of pervy things.
Yeah.
In the episodes, often say they're being pervy around women or being derogatory to women. They always get their kind of comeuppance. And I think Aid mentions this in Bottom Exposed. They are a pair of misogynistic assholes, and they say misogynistic things, which probably some of the things will make you quite uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But they get they get their comeuppance for it. It's not. They're not just making these jokes for the sake of it.
Yeah.
They're making these jokes for them to then get put in their place by the women that they're being rude about or whatever.
It's not at the expense of women. It's at their expense at the end of the day because they're the ones who look stupid.
Exactly, and that is, I think, in the live shows sometimes the later live shows doesn't quite land. But they're still entertaining. I think they're fine. I think you go and you kind of get what you want from a bottom live show.
Yeah, definitely. I think anything that kind of transfers to stage is always going to be more kind of overblown, isn't it? Like from the swearing down to the stunts and stuff. Like, there's a firework in the room or whatever, or a toilet time machine.
Yes, that was the first one, wasn't it? Toilet time machine. The first one was all set in the flat, wasn't it? The time machine.
I was like, which one?
Oh no, sorry, no. The toilet time machine was the fifth one, wasn't it?
This is my finger digger.
Sorry, there was a toilet in the first live show, wasn't it? And it was like an electric chair, wasn't it? He turned it into.
Yeah.
I don't watch the first live show very often. Second live show is my favourite. I love the second live show, the big number 2 tour.
Yes.
So the first half is set in the flat, and the Queen's coming around for tea.
Yeah.
And then the second half is set in prison, and then there's like a little cheeky third act where they go back to the flat.
Yes.
So the second and third live shows, I think, for my money, are easily the best.
Yeah, definitely.
Followed by 1, 4 and 5. Yeah, okay, they are. But I think a little bit of time had passed.
Yeah. For
it to still be what it was.
You're not a fan of Guess How Paradiso, though?
I'm not a huge fan. No, I think I prefer it as not being bottom, and I think they tried to make it. Aid directed it, didn't he?
Yeah.
It does feel like they tried to, because they changed it. I think this was to make it more accessible to a wider audience. They changed their names and they.
Yeah, Thwaite or something.
Yes, and it's not a bottom film. It's not. Bottom presents Guest House Paradiso. It's Richie and Eddie. It's Guest House Paradiso, but it's not a bottom film.
Yeah, for a start, they've got a hotel, not a dingy little flat. So.
Yeah, and they've got that spud gun, but he's the chef.
Oh yeah, of
course. So you've got a completely just chef, isn't he?
Pascal, that's the other guy. Yeah.
So I think you get what you want from it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Followers love it, so I'm conscious that I'm gonna. For all 12 of you watching this, you're going to give me some backlash that I'm not a huge fan of Guest House Paradiso. But you're a big fan, aren't you?
Yeah, and also I think a true fan of anything is able to acknowledge weaknesses in anything,
So it was you that sent me the link to how they did the fork hook up the nose backwards thing, wasn't it? Which probably instigated this conversation, because then I realised that this person absolutely loves bottom and will go out of their way to introduce me to new things. So you're a big Guest House Paradiso fan, right?
Yeah, maybe it just came along at the right time because my little brother and I were 12 and 9 or something. Whatever. But we would quote it to each other all the time. I think on like long road trips or whatever.
It's very quotable because it is very quotable. You've got like obviously Phoebe.
I remember my brother being like, "I'll pop these, okay," or whatever. And the kitchen fight. Oh my god! Yes. I remember my brother like crying at the kitchen fight. I mean, pure. That was top class violence.
Yes, and that is taking you right back to bottom culture, isn't it?
Yes.
And frying pans.
Yes.
And that for me that's the classic bit of bottom right there.
Yes. Yeah.
That's where you get what you want.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of most common thing that I actually post from Guest House Paradiso is every year when there's a heat wave, I post where Richie's put the latex underwear and it's exploding. He's like covered in red. I always do the stepping out in the sun for 2 minutes in this heat wave. Or the other one I do for that is the meme where it's like if you put bolognese in a lunchbox.
I was like, was that you? Yeah, of course it is.
Of course it is. So it's actually quite it's a decent post from that. How are you spelling Phoebe? You say with an F or a PH?
Ooh. Right, my mind went to F, but now you say it, I feel like I was thinking like Phoebe, the name.
I've never seen a script, so I don't know how they're.
I love how he does that with Phoebe, then he goes, "Oh, forget the Phoebe." It's like, that's taking you more time. Just get to the point. How do you spell egg?
Hens, vaginas. It's amazing how many followers. And again, sorry if this is going to annoy you. How many get that quite wrong? The hens, vaginas.
Oh really?
When I do a post saying where do your eggs come from, people reply chickens, vaginas, or birds, vaginas. Very few people actually say hens, vaginas. I don't know if that's on purpose or not, but.
Does hen not translate? Is that an American thing?
Possibly.
Ooh. Can't all be pedants for us.
No, well, it's been spending far too much time thinking about Bottom. But yeah, so Guest House Parody. So again, don't come at me with it's fine. I do like it. I will watch it, but I'm not.
It's fine. It's like saying Enter Sandman isn't the best song by Metallica.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Master of Puppet. I don't know.
Long time followers of the page will know that my favourite bands are Busted and Scouting for Girls. So that Metallica reference has gone straight over my head.
Yeah, sorry. God, I bet you won't hit a score with the ladies.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. No, I wasn't. I'm lying to myself. That was a cackle. That was a proper.
Oh no! Oh no! Got too comfortable. I started cackling. Oh no.
Moving swiftly on. So we talked a little bit about just before Guest House Parody, so how they can be like arseholes to women and misogynists, and you're not. I always find Rich and Eddie are a bit like Alan Partridge. You're not meant to like them, really. You're not, but you end up rooting for them.
Yeah.
And you end up feeling sorry for them, and there is times where you just, Richie especially, I just end up, despite how disgusting and awful they are, and you always end up, you want it to end well for them. You're rooting for them. And I'll tell you what I've got written down here.
Yeah.
Richie can be an absolute monumental prick. But cite things like Accident, Bottoms Up, and Parade, but you still want him to get that shag in the end. You
do, and I even remember probably being too young, but thinking like how sad I was that his ticker gave out. You know.
Yes.
At the crucial moment.
I wonder where it would have gone, because that was episode 1, series 2, not series 2.
Yeah.
Say he did get that shag with Lady Natasha. I wonder what his life would have been like.
I just don't think they would have been able to take it anywhere. That's the whole point. He is a sad virgin.
Do you think somewhere there is a alternative reality where he got that shag?
Do you reckon it was Ethel Cardew?
Never did he?
No. I mean, Eddie did.
Eddie did. He showed her the Low Countries.
He did. But then even that, there's a lack of continuity, isn't there? When they're in the Halloween episode, like, virgin's blood. You're like, right, has Eddie had everyone from here to Timbuktu or not? I don't know.
Well, because by that point, he's referenced Ethel Cardew, Nasty Linda in Contest.
Yep.
He's referenced his sleeping bag.
Oh, yeah, everyone in
Chiswick,
South.
And a sense of fun.
Where's his spoon?
Watching his sketchings. No, sense of fun's in Chiswick and his sleeping bags in Chiswick. So there was a lot of suggestion that Eddie has had sex at least once.
Yeah.
So that is lack of continuity there.
Voluptua of dubious morals.
Yes,
definitely a woman in his life.
That is, yes. Those saucy bits of string.
Yeah. Favourite.
So you do, you can't help it. I don't know if you do this, but sometimes when I watch things that I know what's going to happen, but I know they get so close, I always just think, would it be different this time? Mm-hmm. Is this time I watch it, is it going to be different?
Yeah.
And will Richie end up shagging Lady Natasha? He never does.
Yeah.
And it is quite sad.
It's alright, in an alternate universe.
Yeah. Like I say, when we mentioned Accident, that is not Accident, Bottoms Up. Mm-hmm. That episode in particular where they're the shop, he's such an arsehole to everyone.
Oh yeah.
And those are the episodes where you don't root for him because he's just relentless. Like every single person he comes into contact with, he's a complete arsehole to.
I mean, I get the thing, no disrespect to Rick, 'cause I love him, but obviously, he had this whole. I think Aid says in his book, there's Rick and there's Rick, and there's the Rick who has this inflated sense of self, and I wonder if that kind of Rick Mail was coming across in British.
Possibly. Yeah.
Like look at mine, shopkeeper or whatever.
Yeah.
Are you mad?
Do you want some of this? Do you? You're gonna get it, you old git. Does it right up your bracket? That's an underused saying. Right up your bracket.
Oh my god, bracket. What about the goddamn Jeff Case asswipe?
Asswipe. Mayor Dooley has got to be one of the most famous off-screen. Isn't Mayor Dooley from a film, right? I'm sure there's a Mayor Dooley in a film that's quite.
Yeah, but camera in my face and it's escaping me. I don't know.
No, it's fine. But I'm pretty sure Mayor Dooley is one of the most famous off-screen characters at Bottom that people quote.
Really?
I reckon Mayor Dooley, Slip Digby, obviously. Slip Digby, Keith and Deirdre. Ethel Cardew, yeah. Pato Cake.
Baker Matt.
Mad Quentin. Trousers Down, Pervy O'Blimey. That's from the second live show.
Who's the suicidal one?
Ted Unlucky Suicide with Gloomy. Who's the travel agent?
Oh God, he's the most violent one in the world.
Scarper down that back alley, we would have bumped into Dodgy Bob McMayday.
Yes.
The most violentest travel agent in the world.
Who would do anything for half a pint?
Oh God.
Ted? No.
I've forgotten.
Oh, no. There are so many.
Oh, of course. There's Harold, the Ironmonger. Remember? His dog. We bloody won that bet, didn't we?
Oh yeah, should we get a crosshead up?
So yes, feeling sorry for them, but I think you get over it quite quickly.
Yeah.
They're feeling sorry for them because.
Oh God. Yeah. It's much funnier to laugh at
it. Next thing that comes through quite strongly from lots of your comments are the fluffs. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the fluffs, they're the cock-ups. They're at the end of. Initially, it started out as a VHS. They decided to. There's an interesting story, and I think this came out on the Bottom Exposed podcast. If it didn't, then you're getting a bit of intel here. When the Bottom series came to an end, some bright spark in the production team suggested to Rick and Aid they put together a fluff VHS.
Mm-hmm.
All the 3 20-minute sets of outtakes on one VHS, ours VHS, and sell it. Apparently Rick and Aid said that's a stupid idea. No one's going to go for that. Fine, whatever, but we don't care. And it sold, I think, I'd have to go back to the recording if I didn't leave it in, sold 155,000 copies.
Holy Moses.
So they made a lot of money out of something they didn't give a shit about.
Repurposing content, as we say in
the
marketing world.
And one of the things that always comes through on the comments when it comes to fluffs is, can I get them on DVD?
Yeah.
And the answer is no, you can't unless you've got the individual DVDs and you can watch them as like extra bits. There's no bottom fluff DVD.
Yeah.
No one's had the foresight to take the fluff VHS and just put it onto DVD, which is a real shame.
Right, there you go.
I have heard rumours from the people that my contacts that someone somewhere might want to do some kind of they've done lots of Blu-ray remastering.
Yeah.
Apparently someone somewhere wants to do that, and there might be something. And if they did, then the fluffs would then get taken over.
Yeah.
Along with all the extended episodes, but for now, the only place you can get the fluffs is on the DVD outtakes, or I think there's some clips on YouTube and other video formats. But they are always, like I said earlier in this pod, they are like, if I post the fluffs, that's what people love. People absolutely love the fluffs, the cock up. So and as we established, the live fluffs, most of them, by the time they've reached the live show that's recorded, they might have started out as a cock up, but they've become sort of scripted.
Well, it's not even a fluff, really, is it?
Yeah. I think about the Rick Mail, the door. I'm the door. I feel like that happened probably once, and then they're like, "This is actually really funny. Let's leave it in."
Yeah.
And then it's a fluff that becomes scripted. But I think the fluffs on the actual series, they are genuine cock ups, and they are really, really good.
Yeah, I also like it when Rick's just talking to the camera, like, "What the man with the 12-inch cock up for breakfast?"
Yes.
Whenever people say, "Katie, give me a joke," I always want to say that, and then I'm like, I don't.
Don't have to. Is it because you didn't have a boiled egg for breakfast?
Yes. Yeah, that was the issue.
Yeah, some of the best fluffs are when Rick plays up to the camera, and I feel like that was when Rick was in his element, where he could just do something spontaneous, tell a stupid joke, or just play. But obviously, Aid was very, very different to Rick. He didn't tend to, other than his LA Pen, fancy a shag type. He did that 3 times.
Yeah.
He just used to kind of wait for the next take, but Rick would always have the opportunity. Thank God he did, because it has given us some really good clips of Rick being Rick, which you love to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the balance would be off if they were both like that. It would be too much, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I sense he's like the introvert of the pair.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say never having met him, but I have met him.
You have met him, so we mentioned this right at the start.
Yes.
Tell us about your liaison with Aid.
Okay. Well, the 2 heroes of my life that I've ever met are Meatloaf and Aid, and they both happen to be at 2 different Comic Cons, which no disrespect to the cosplay world, it's not really my thing. I'm just never seen Star Wars, whatever. But I think Aid was at a Comic Con in 2018 because he had been in Star Wars very briefly, from what I hear. But you could buy this whole package where you go and get your photo taken and go and chat to him and stuff. So I got my photo with him, and I just didn't know what to say because you get like 3 seconds. So I just went, Eddie! And he literally went, ah! and I didn't know how to post. There's a picture of me like going, and he looks genuinely terrified. He's like, oh. And
okay, I'll merge it into this clip. For you to see on the page.
Yeah, but that's my 3 seconds with 8.
How many people do you think? That does sound. I'm very, very jealous. How many people do you think just went there because they had no interest in Comic-Con?
Oh, definitely.
Just wanted to meet Aid and do like a bottom quote or a Young Ones quote or Comic Strip Presents or something like that.
I at least saw one Vivian. I saw one man dressed as a banana. I saw a guy wearing a How Dare You Accuse Me of Drinking an Inch t-shirt.
Excellent.
So I got photos of all these people. But then you just got like Jack Sparrows walking around and stuff. And I'm like, who are you here for?
Probably not to pretend to hit Eddie with a frying Aid Evans with a frying pan.
Yeah, there was someone else from Bottom there as well, but I forgot his name. Is it Mark? The Harry Potter Weasley.
Mark Williams.
Yes, yeah, he was there as well, but obviously in a Harry Potter capacity or something. I was like, you were in Bottom.
He was in Bottom.
Yeah.
Didn't Richie? Yeah, that's it. His arm was a burger, wasn't it? It was his nipples, wasn't it?
Yeah. But hi, bird. Get your blouses off.
Yeah, another example of Richie being.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, it was his birthday. Let's give him a free pass.
Yeah, that's fine. Give him the bumps at least.
that is a great experience. Yeah, I'm jealous. Yeah, maybe I'll meet Aid one day.
Yeah, there'll be other Comic Cons or something. I don't know. Very nice man.
I'm sure he is. He does come across as a very nice man.
I did say thanks to him afterwards, and he kind of put his arm around me a bit. So.
A bit.
I haven't washed since.
I can tell that actually. I'm not sure that's you or the dog.
Oh, the dog.
And talking of the cult nature of fans, my next bit is about the cult nature of fans.
Oh, good segue.
Good segue. I mean, this was actually coming towards the end of things we had to talk about. It was just kind of, I don't think, not that I run many fan pages, but I don't think, there probably is, but there aren't that many fans like Bottom fans who, for something that ran for such a short period of time, quite cult rather than being like everyone loved it.
Yes, definitely.
And to be such an old, it's 34 years old now.
Yeah.
To have such a broad range of fans, broad ages, and to be quoted so relentlessly, and to people there's some posts that I do that they just, out of nowhere, people just pile into the comments, and it gets 200 comments of just people just putting in random quoting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it must happen on other fan pages, but from my mind, it just seems like, what an amazing thing. Like, what an amazing set of fans that people just get so much joy out of just putting a quote, and then someone will put one quote, and then that comment will get loads more quotes. And people will just back and forth, and it must happen elsewhere. But it's just so much fun to watch unfold. Yeah,
it just goes to show that even though your immediate thought is violence, there's so much to the dialogue, and it's so much more layered than that, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can't just be all violence and slapstick if there's pages and pages of people quoting stuff back and forth.
Yeah, definitely.
So there is a really, really kind of I put here, I've never known anyone to have the ability to quote it so relentlessly as Bottom fans. I don't know how often people quote it, but I quote it plenty of times in my day-to-day life more than I do any other show. Maybe The Simpsons is probably something I quote as much as Bottom.
Yeah.
But then you've got a lot more material with The Simpsons to work with than you have Bottom.
Exactly. Yeah. Again, it's quite limited, but because it's so good, there is so much to quote. I mean, I have whole friendships based on, you included. I remember walking into work once just with a mate going, 10 long years I was in the force, and everyone in the office was like, you wouldn't understand different social structures.
Now that you said that before. Is that from Bottoms Out?
Yes.
From they're by the fireplace, aren't they?
Yes.
Fireplace, the fire pits thing.
Yeah.
As well, they're talking about.
Yeah.
It's from that. I can't remember the exact part of it. Yeah.
I think not talking about Deep Throat, are they? No, it's something else.
They've done that. But that's another one of those examples of quotes that you would laugh at, but you probably as a child wouldn't really know why, and then you get it 10, 15 years later.
Yeah.
And what I always like about that is the delayed laughter as well.
Yes.
Where you get the audience has a quick murmur, and then they get the joke, and then there's it erupts. That's always one of my favourite jokes. You know it's going to hit well when you get that quick murmur, and then it just completely erupts.
It's quite a nice feeling as a stand-up, I have to say.
I imagine it probably is. Better than the quick murmur than nothing.
That's never happened to me.
I'm sure it hasn't. Anyway, I got here, the Bottom community is great. I do lots of live watch parties, or I used to. I haven't done as many recently, but I will try and do some more, where you kind of watch an episode of Bottom on my TV, which is up there, through my phone, and people just piled in with the comments. I don't think people are watching it; they're just quoting along.
Oh yeah.
Just for the banter, which is really good. And they always people love them. It's low quality. It's like low. It's not technical at all. It's literally you're just watching it through my telly, through my phone, but people really love it. And again, I think I've had up to about 1,000 people on those watch parties, which I think I just can't think the average fan of another show would happily sit and spend half an hour of their time watching a really grainy thing through Instagram Live for half an hour. But
yeah, I can't imagine another show where you'd have that following.
No, and it's just very, very special.
Very passionate people.
They are. So thank you, followers and watchers. Just to finish on, we can do like a sum up. But just to finish, I've put through a few of the kind of throwaway comments that appeared in the responses to this. So one of them is that I love Bottom more than my children. Fair enough. Again, if you're watching, listening, let yourself know, make yourself known, and let me know how your children are getting on.
I am a sad orphan.
Please look after my baby. I can't be bothered. I imagine these quotes are resonating quite well with you if you're watching this. Every day, Friday night at 9 p.m. religiously. I think we could all link to that. I think although Bottom was first aired on a Tuesday.
1991.
But they moved it through to a Friday. I think probably from series 2.
Yeah.
Someone's put it means wind smear.
Oh, when you say what does bottom mean?
Yeah, it was one of the means they say it means wind smear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what to say to that. It does. Yeah. It means the contents of your underpants.
What does it mean to you?
What does it mean to me? God, that is a really good question. It's put me on the spot. It means wasting a hell of a lot of my life, just scrolling through things to make posts, and that's I guess that's more seriously. It means I just really love it. I think I grew up with it. It's stuck with me ever since I was a 10-year-old watching it on a Friday night. Different episodes of Bottom and different live shows. Especially the second live show, I can remember watching it having it on VHS. First borrowing it off my cousin loads, then borrowing it off my mate loads, and finally get my own copy. Then getting through 2 or 3 DVDs worth because I watch it so many times. And that's kind of one of my main, just having that. I don't know how many times I've watched the second live show, but it's got to be thousands. Yeah. And I think I probably could, if I really focused, quote it the whole thing word for word, from start to finish. I reckon I probably could.
Okay.
Maybe I could do a Bottom live watch party of me watching.
This is a one-man show.
I could probably do that. So that's what it means for me. Just I actually got the next throwaway quote. It means comfort, familiarity, and hilarity.
Yeah, I think
that's someone else has said that, but that's summed up in my words. And the very last throwaway comment is, I have enclosed a fiver. They didn't say mum's a word.
Oh.
They have enclosed a fiver.
Halfway there.
What does Bottom mean to you, Katie?
I think, and at the risk of lowering the tone, I lost my dad a few years ago, but I was raised on Bottom, and he was the one who introduced me to it, and because I have that kind of nostalgia with it, and those links to my little brother, those links to my childhood, I guess it would mean home.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. That's really nice.
Thank you.
Bottom means home. I think that again. I think that kind of fits in with a lot of what people were saying around the comfort, the growing up with it with parents and siblings, and what was been a special thing that people watch with their dads, or a special sort of time between parents and children. So I think that fits in quite nicely. Yeah. And probably a nice way to round up this episode of the Hammersmith Hardman Presents My Bottom. So is there anything else you would like to add about Bottom before we wrap up?
I think I'll just put bollocks.
Sounds like a good way to end. We'll just put bollocks. So Katie, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
As a co-host of this very special episode of My Bottom. Hopefully we'll do it again soon sometime.
Let's do it.
I will post all the links to your socials if people want to check out either your stand-up work, your presenting work, or your actual kind of work, which is, we said, marketing and all that bollocks and copywriting and stuff like that. Or if you've got any needs related to that, Katie is your gal. So I'll put links to all your different socials and stuff. And thanks everyone for, on this occasion, watching. I hope this was a good experience watching instead of listening. I will do an audio only version too, because I don't know if you're listening to this in your car, can you listen to a video only podcast in your car, for example? No idea. I don't know. I'll figure that out. So I will do an audio only version too. So yeah, thanks and take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.